For dessert in the desert, I brought cookies. But not just any old cookies. These came from the government-authorised Bang shop, which is not a house of ill repute, I'll have you know. At least not the kind of ill repute you might be thinking of. Bang, spelled B-H-A-N-G, is the term for marijuana. I was warned to go careful with these things. Eat a quarter and wait. Despite the warnings, I decided that my personal entertainment was a little slow in coming to fruition. So I had another helping of dessert. Reality is looking slightly less real than hitherto, and I'm now feeling the full force of the mind-melding macaroon. My perception of pretty much everything is shot. Rinsing myself off my seat, I head off into the blackness. Along with my perception of time, I find now that I have little understanding of distance or direction. Not ideal faculties to lose when wandering off into a lightless wilderness. Cookie Monster by Phil Wingfield. Jaisalmer, 18th of November 1997. Jaisalmer, being surrounded by desert, is home of the camel trek. Myself and two others from the hotel are heading west in an old jeep, bound for the sand dunes some 35 kilometres west of the city to do just that. But not until tomorrow. Tonight we sleep in the desert, and in the morning we trek. The dunes crawl with day trippers. They come here to take camel rides and watch the sunset. But after sundown, most are whisked away back to the city and a comfy hotel bed, leaving the would-be camel drivers to the desert and the night. There are only a few of us left. Myself, a young lady by the name of Jenna, and a middle-aged Londoner named of Ray are the only people from our hotel. We are here along with a small party of Israelis. The accommodation is basic. There are a few thatch roof huts or the desert floor. It turns out that we have an assigned hut, the one belonging to the Hotel El Fatah. What are they trying to say? Anyway, that's the choice, a hut or the desert. The last faint glow of the sun fades fast, and very soon the only light source is a single domestic bulb on a wooden pole behind the El Fatah hut. The desert is now an impenetrable inky blackness all around. Our evening meal consists of a thali and chapatis cooked up by our Indian minders. We eat al fresco seated on the stone cap of a large water tank. For dessert in the desert, I brought cookies. But not just any old cookies. These came from the government-authorised Bang shop, which is not a house of ill repute, I'll have you know. At least not the kind of ill repute you might be thinking of. Bang, spelled B-H-A-N-G, is the term for marijuana. Purportedly, it is as illegal here as it is in the UK, so having a government-authorised outlet shouldn't be possible. However, India is India, and a few rupees or free samples, or both, to the right people, gets you your legalised dope outlet. After the meal we sit around and chat while demolishing a crate of kingfisher. Well, Ray does most of the demolishing. Our Indian minders leave with the debris from the meal. I think it's time for dessert. I was warned to go careful with these things. Eat a quarter and wait. After a while, the Israelis join us for a beer and a chat. A short while later, a man and two young lads turn up and sit themselves down on the sand in front of us. The man pulls out a long set of sky blue pipes, and I get a terrible sinking feeling. I know what this is. And don't get me wrong. It's a lovely idea to provide entertainment, and a lot of tourists like it. But personally, it's not my thing. I am a bit of a Philistine when it comes to traditional music. And although there's no charge, it will not be free either. Pipe Man strikes up a tune and the lads sing along. With all due respect, I have to say that I hated it, if it's possible to say that in a respectful way. And on top of that, reality is looking slightly less real than hitherto. Maybe this will help. Maybe it will do precisely the opposite. The little bands sing and play their hearts out. They are trying, and in everyone else's view, succeeding. Ray is loving it, enthusiastically clapping and stamping along to the music. Jenna is a little more reserved and only clapping when they finish a piece. I am finding that, as well as disliking the racket intensely, I now find it a little scary too. Earlier, despite the warnings, I decided that my personal entertainment was a little slow in coming to fruition, so I had another helping of dessert, and I'm now feeling the full force of the mind-melding macaroon. My perception of pretty much everything is shot. I know where I am, but it now seems like a million miles from where I was earlier in the day. And earlier in the day, that was a lifetime ago. The band, or my perception of the band, alternates between freaky and downright frightening. The way they look, the expressions on their faces, the sounds the instruments make, and the words they sing, it's just all freaky as hell. I am rooted to the spot. I don't want to be here, and I'm too scared to make a move. Meanwhile, Ray is getting more drunk and more enthusiastic. He's chucking money at the band left, right and centre. They are loving it, as he's chucking 100 rupee notes at them. They're only the equivalent of about £1.20, but it's a lot to these guys. And it's a lot to me right now. Ray may have that kind of money with him, but I don't, and I'm sure Jenna doesn't either. We are trekking in the desert tomorrow. Neither of us envisaged any shopping trips. But every time Ray chucks a note in, he looks at us, and I take that to mean follow suit. But my mind is in freefall, and I can't be sure of anything. It's all too much for me. Ray and his money fountain, the freaky band and their freaky music. One of the young lads singing wears an orange turban. He has freakishly big eyes, and every time I look at him, I find him staring back at me. When his mouth isn't singing, it is set in a wide grin, which, along with the eyes, make him look maniacal. For some reason, he makes me think of one of those evil dolls or possessed mannequins from a 70s Hammer horror. It's too much. I have to get out of here. I need a piss anyway, but where to go? Anywhere I like, I guess, as long as it's out of sight. Okay, let's go. But getting up and leaving takes immense willpower. I feel as if everyone is looking at me and wondering what the hell I'm doing. Do I say something or just leave? I don't know. Why is this so difficult? Rinsing myself off my seat, I head off into the blackness. Along with my perception of time, I find now that I have little understanding of distance or direction. Not ideal faculties to lose when wandering off into a lightless wilderness. I keep walking until I stumble on a rock, or what I thought was a rock. It's a big flat rock. It seems to be some sort of platform in the desert. The shindig is a silent point of light in the distance, and a lone operational neuron buried in the dysfunctional blob of grey jelly in my skull tells me not to go any further. Okay, now, why am I here? Oh yes, piss. But now it's time for an attack of a toilet block. That feeling you get when you're busting to go but nothing happens. From far away I hear a blaring sound that makes me think of trains. The only trains out here are the camel ones. What was that? I don't know. But at least the plumbing is working again, albeit slowly. Did I really drink this much? There's that sound again, only much closer. What is that? I remember thinking it sounded more like a ship. I hear the sound again, only much louder. I shuffle around a tad to look in the sound's general direction and see another point of light. Now I have to think and piss at the same time. I'm in trouble. It takes a while, or a few seconds, depending on whose reality it is seen from, for the gummed up gears of my brain to free up. The mysterious platform in the desert is what people in control of their faculties call a road, and the light is an oncoming truck. I leap off the road in a panic and piss on myself into the bargain. 3 or 4 minutes later, the truck rumbles past. Of course, perception of time, distance, pretty much everything else is still shafted. What a twat. Forgetting that I left because everything was scaring me, I head back towards the light for safety. I walk back into camp and sit down. No one says a thing. I've been gone for ages. Didn't you wonder where I was? Weren't you concerned at all? No, no, and no. Soon after my miraculous return from the wilderness, the band, despite being showered with cash, wrapped the night up. They were probably getting out while they could still carry all the money Ray had chucked at them. At least my near-death toilet trip saved me from destitution. Before they go, one of these raiders approaches the group. He is fascinated with one of the instruments they've been using and made them an offer to buy it. I saw this happening and unwisely decided to open my mouth. I said that I didn't know its name in India, but in the UK it's called a Jew's harp. I thought he might be fascinated to hear that, and he might have been. He might have been annoyed, or he might not even have heard. I really couldn't tell. They did sell it to him though, at a very tidy profit I imagine. My grip on reality is still tenuous at best. Jenna asks me if I have any cookies left and eats the other half of mine, despite my warning that it is a gateway to a strange and sometimes frightening dimension. But I will be glad of the company when she gets here. I can't believe I bought 3 of these things. That's enough to drive an elephant insane. The 2 Indian guys reappear and distribute bedding. Is it bedtime then? Are you my mum? No, but they are trying to mess with my head, and not only mine. Holding a scrawny looking duvet in each hand, they say, 1 mattress, 1 blanket. What? 1 mattress, 1 blanket. This really isn't helping with my grip on reality. It wasn't just me either. Everyone was confused. They were holding up 2 identical objects and giving them different names, neither of which matched the objects in question. If I'd been compos mentis, I could have grabbed 2 film canisters and shouted, "Weasel! Ice cream!" The rupee finally dropped, as it was dropping through cold treacle. They are the same thing. We just sleep on one and cover ourselves with the other. 1 mattress, 1 blanket. Got it. Why didn't they just say, well, they did, you stone dummy. Only you treated it like calculating pi to 1,000 decimal places in your head. Ray, Jenna and I elect to sleep outside. I am sleeping right where I am on the water tank. I had intended to sleep on the ground until Ray started to talk of scorpions, disease-carrying ticks and mad dogs on the loose. The Israelis retreat into the El Fatah hut, leaving Jenna, Ray and I under the stars. Before long, the single electric bulb is extinguished. There are few sights more stunning than a clear night sky with no light pollution, especially when your mind is in an altered state. Thanks to the stars and the cessation of the uber-jarring traditional music, I have reached a level of peace. Lying on a water tank in the Thar desert under a clearly visible Milky Way in virtual silence. It could be any time and we could be anywhere, but it's unimportant. Jenna tells me that the cookie has started to work. Mine took hours and she's only just eaten the thing. But now she knows. She knows where I have been for most of the evening. Finally, someone who understands. We talked rubbish for a bit before I realised that I'm talking to myself. Jenna and Ray are asleep, or pretending to be. So much for dimension sharing. It seems to be getting lighter. I can make out the horizon again. My warped concept of time is one thing, but there is no way it's morning. A while later, the moon bridges the horizon and bathes the desert landscape in silver light. I've never thought about the term moonrise before, but right now it's a beautiful word for a wondrous sight. It's so breathtaking I have to find my camera and take a shot of it. The photo was pants and did nothing to convey the scene at all. Staring at the moon is the last thing I remember before finally falling asleep. I was woken again at some point by an animal. It was attempting to eat my mattress. Or was it my blanket? I don't know. It's just another night in the old Thar desert. Postscript. I managed, Christ knows how, to write a few notes during the evening. I don't remember doing it, but according to the Diary of a Madman, it was only 8:30 when the bedding was distributed. How did I even know? So everything that happened was over a 2-hour period. Unbelievable. Finally, the morals of the story are, don't do drugs. But if you do drugs, don't do perception-altering drugs. But if you do perception-altering drugs, at least choose a safe environment. And taking a piss in the pitch dark on a desert road in front of a fast-approaching truck is not a safe environment. Cookie Monster was written and read by Phil Wingfield.